There is something bizarre about goosebumps that people barely notice because it happens so fast. 1 second your skin is normal, and the next it is covered in tiny little bumps like the body just remembered some ancient emergency. Cold air can trigger it, fear can trigger it, music can trigger it, a strange emotional moment can trigger it. Sometimes even a memory can do it. So what exactly is happening here? Why does the human body still perform this weird little reaction as if it is preparing for something far more dangerous than a temperature change or a good song? The answer starts in a place humans like to pretend they have outgrown, but absolutely have not. Goosebumps are not random decoration. They are a leftover survival response. In animals with thick fur, the reaction makes the hair stand up, which helps trap air for warmth, and can also make the animal look bigger when threatened. That is useful when you are covered in fur and living in a world where being eaten is a serious concern. Humans still have the same basic mechanism, but most of us no longer have enough body hair for it to do much visually. So the system remains, even though the original job has largely gone missing. Classic human engineering. Keep the part, lose the point. Act surprised later. That is the first strange truth. Goosebumps are not there because the body is elegant. They are there because the body is old. The skin has tiny muscles attached to hair follicles, and when those muscles contract, the hairs rise and the skin puckers into those little bumps. The body is literally flipping on an ancient setting that used to matter more. On a furry animal, this would help with heat or intimidation. On a human arm, it mostly just looks like your body is having a quiet crisis. But the story does not end there, because cold is only one of the triggers. Fear can do it too. That's where goosebumps stop looking like a temperature issue and start looking like a warning system. When humans feel frightened, the nervous system can kick into alert mode. Heart rate changes, attention sharpens, the body prepares for action. Goosebumps can appear as part of that whole response, almost like a physical echo of the brain saying, "Something important is happening. Pay attention." Even if the danger is not a predator in the bushes anymore, the body still reacts like it might be. That makes sense once you remember what our ancestors were dealing with. For most of human history, sudden cold, sudden fear, and sudden danger were not separate categories. They were all part of the same problem. If the environment was getting worse, if something was nearby, if the body needed to react fast, the nervous system had to flip the switch immediately. Goosebumps were part of that old package, a tiny body alarm from a time when being too relaxed could cost you everything. If you're into these strange human behavior breakdowns, this is exactly the kind of thing we dig into here. The body keeps ancient habits alive long after the world has changed around them, which is very thoughtful of it in the most annoying way possible. Then there is the part that catches people off guard. Goosebumps can also show up during intense emotional moments. A song can suddenly hit too hard. A speech can land in the chest. A scene in a film can feel bigger than it has any right to feel. A memory can rise up and make the skin react before the mind has even fully explained why. That is because humans do not only respond physically to cold or fear, we respond to meaning. Emotional chills may not be exactly the same thing as fear goosebumps, but they appear to ride on a similar body pathway. The nervous system hears the emotional signal and responds as if something important is happening. That is why goosebumps are so strange. They sit at the crossroads of body and mind. Sometimes they are about temperature. Sometimes they are about danger. Sometimes they are about feeling deeply moved. The skin is not trying to be poetic, but it accidentally reveals how powerful the moment is. The body reacts before the explanation is ready, which is one of the most human things it ever does. And there is something slightly beautiful about that. Goosebumps remind us that the body is not a machine built only for logic. It is layered with old responses, some practical, some emotional, some so ancient they barely make sense anymore. A cold room, a tense moment, a perfect line in a song, and suddenly your skin is showing you that the nervous system is listening to more than you consciously notice. It is watching the world in its own way and answering faster than your thoughts can catch up. So why do humans get goosebumps? Because the body inherited a survival response from fur-covered ancestors. because cold still activates that system, because fear still wakes it up, and because strong emotion can borrow the same pathway to make itself visible on the skin. The reaction is old, useful, and a little awkward, which is exactly the kind of thing evolution seems to enjoy leaving us with. That means goosebumps are not a flaw, and they're not a mystery for the sake of mystery. They are a leftover message from the past, still popping up on modern skin whenever the body thinks something important is happening. Cold, fear, awe, music, memory. The body doesn't always care which one it is. It only knows that the system should probably react. And that is the weird truth. Goosebumps are what happens when an ancient survival mechanism refuses to retire, even after the fur is gone and the world has changed. The body still remembers how to raise the hairs, even if the original reason has mostly vanished. It's one of those quiet reminders that humans are not finished products. We're just old instructions running in a new environment.